You all saw the Israeli ambassador to the UN and his antics, and I don't care because I'm going to play the clips and we're going to laugh at them together, okay? And then I'll show you something else. I will show you something else that you have not seen that just happened today, all right? So first, let's take a look at his, this is really one of my favorite bits when he, not when he shredded the UN Charter, but when he pulled out this placard and look who was on it. Look who was on it.
In the years to come, you will have to explain how, in opposition to all morality and the UN Charter, you did everything to give a state to a group of mass murderers, to the Hitlers of our times. So here it is. I present to you the future outcome of today's vote. This is the outcome of your vote. Soon to be President Yihya Sinwar, President Tyrant of the state of Hamas.
Why does he speak like that? It's Yahya Sinwar. It's not Yihya Sinwar. They do. It's like they do this on purpose to make everything sound more terrifying in Arabic. Like that's not how you say it. It's not Hezbollah. It's Hezbollah. Anyway.
Sponsored by the UN, by the way. And he owes his deepest gratitude to you.
I love this guy. I really think he's funny. He's like a clown, you know. He comes in the court and he starts juggling and he amuses us. Even when Israel disappears, I think we should keep him just for the sake of making us laugh. Do you agree with me? I really think we should keep him. He's so funny. He's so funny. He's actually good, man.
The General Assembly. When Hamas rises to power, the Palestinian representative who just spoke here, you know what will happen to him. He will be recalled. And if he returns, he will likely be thrown off a rooftop by Hamas, just as the Palestinian Authority representative were.
Do you see how they're shaking their heads that like you are a lunatic?
When Hamas took over Gaza.
I swear, he's such a good court jester. He's really a great court jester. He just amuses us.
Back in 2006-7. And in his place, this body will welcome a Hamas representative to its ranks. A terrorist diplomat whose stated goal is Jewish genocide.
Wow. Okay, so hold on. A terrorist diplomat whose stated goal is Jewish genocide. What a mouthful. You know, it's funny because everything he says is projection. It really is. Like a terrorist diplomat. I mean, you kind of qualify for that, you know? If you're not going to be the court jester, which I really think you should, you do qualify for, you know, you do qualify as a terrorist diplomat. Yeah, absolutely.
Just like his Iranian counterpart here.
Just like your American counterpart here. See, I mean, it really works, right? It really works.
With this new precedent, we may see here representatives of ISIS or Boko Haram that will sit among us. You know what? This will be fitting for the new moral.
Yeah, I mean, ISIS is controlled by America and you, so why don't you invite them? That's very rude of you not to have them over. Don't you think? Don't you think? Anyway, let me fast forward to the best moment, the grand finale. He's been saving and practicing for this one, I guarantee you.
World to remember this moment, to remember this immoral act.
Immoral act? It's what immoral act? he acts like it's, you know, someone is belly dancing inside of the UN General Assembly.
So today, I will hold up a mirror for you. A mirror. This is your mirror. So that you can see exactly what you are inflicting upon the UN Charter with this destructive vote. This is you are shredding the UN Charter with your own hands. Yes, that's what you're doing.
I'm pretty sure you're the one shredding it with your own hands. Like literally you, no one else. We should give him a break. You know, it's not his fault. Zionists project. They can't help projecting, you know? So he's a terrorist. He calls everybody else a terrorist. He kills Semites. He calls everybody else an anti-Semite. He shreds the UN Charter. He says everybody else is shredding the UN Charter. You literally brought a shredder to the room. You are holding a physical shredder in your hand. You are physically inserting the UN Charter. You shredded the Charter, no one else.
You are shredding the UN Charter.
No,
with
no, they're
your
not.
own hands.
I love how he adds the with your own hands at the end. Like if it shows you the degree to which he projects. He even talks about it in a physical sense, in a literate sense, with your own hands. He means figuratively. You are figuratively shredding the UN Charter. You know, if he had left it at that, it would already be bad enough and funny enough. But like when he adds the with your own hands, it's like, dude, you are talking about yourself. You held up a mirror to yourself.
Yes, that's what you're doing. Shredding the UN Charter.
Yes, that's what you're doing. Well, you know what? Let's talk about the UN. You know what the Israelis did today? They shot up a UN car. They murdered a UN staff member in Gaza. Look at the car. So he talks about disrespecting the UN Charter, and this is what his country is doing. Look at that. Look how many bullet holes in this car. Look at the bullet holes. Let me tell you, both my parents served in the UN. UN cars are white. They're white. And they have clear black markings on them. So UN in black. They're unmistakable. Any person, even a primitive caveman with no technology can see, oh, that's a UN car. It's pearlescent white and there's clear UN markings on it. But the Israelis, with their technology, with their drones, with their satellites, with all this crap, these billions of dollars in military aid that they receive, you're telling me they can't see that it's a UN car? I mean, they know it's a UN car. That's the point. Because it's a UN car, they shot at it. Now you understand how the Zionists think. They shot at it because it's a UN car. They did not mistake it for something else. They hate the UN, like they hate doctors, like they hate journalists, like they hate civilians. Israelis can't fight man-to-man. They can't actually fight Hamas man-to-man. They lose on the battlefield. So they take out everything on civilians, on NGOs, on non-governmental organizations, on humanitarian workers, on doctors, on civilians, because they are cowards. They are losers and cowards, and they are just freakish and insecure. That's what they are. So he goes to the UN and then accuses everyone of doing what he is doing in the room. And then on top of that, not even a week later, just a few days later, a few hours later, they're shooting up UN staff. Do you know how many UN staff have been killed now in Gaza? Can you believe I've lost count? I swear to God, I've lost count. I swear. I have lost count. I swear. How many are we at now? How many are we at? So we have 224 aid workers killed in Gaza by Israel since October 7. But UN specifically, they killed an Indian staff member with security, okay? It was an Indian staff member, and they injured also a foreign contractor who was in the same car. Now, when it comes to UN staff, 190, they've killed more than 190 UN staff. I mean, Jesus Christ. Let me explain something to you. Do you know how many UN missions there are around the world, like peacekeeping and observer missions? Peacekeeping is considered the most dangerous because you're in a war zone. You're in an active war zone. So, you know, if you look at the African continent, they had missions in Angola. You look at the Middle East, they had missions in Lebanon, in UNIFIL, in UNDOF, in Syria. You have all these dangerous missions. You got Gib in Kashmir. And even in all of these dangerous missions, you have never, ever had that many UN staff members killed in any war zone in history, ever. The Israelis massacring UN staff, like, you know, like shooting fish in a barrel, like it's nothing to them. And then they have the gall to come to the UN and act like, you know, they have some kind of moral standing to start holding up placards of Yahya Sinwar. Yahya Sinwar doesn't gun down UN staff members. Do you know that? He doesn't come to the General Assembly and make a fool of himself. You utter clown, you court jester. I mean, this is scandalous. This is really scandalous. Look at these bullet holes. Please look at these bullet holes. This is intentional. You know, it's precise, it's calculated, it's cold, it's murder, it's premeditated. Do you understand this? This is on purpose. You don't accidentally fire at a UN vehicle. He's even got a flag on it. Most of them don't even have a flag, okay? Most of them don't even have the UN flag. This one does. Absolutely scandalous behavior. I mean, really scandalous. The nerve, the balls, the goal to fire at a UN vehicle and then come and speak like this to the room of diplomats and talk down to them like they're school children. I mean, it's unbelievable. Even before today's incident, it was 189. No one in history has killed that many UN staff members. What is wrong with these people? They're sick, you know, the Israelis. This is what's so funny is that they want to point to the UN General Assembly Resolution 181 and say this is the founding document for Israel. The UN partition plan in 47 is the founding document for Israel's existence. So they want the UN when it serves their agenda, right? When it comes to Zionism, oh great, this partition plan, which was never applied, it gives us legitimacy in the UN. Wonderful. Oh, but everything else, UN Security Council Resolution 242, all of the subsequent ones in 1980 and 1981, where they illegally annexed Jerusalem, they illegally annexed the Syrian Golan Heights, where the UN says null and void, illegal, get out. They ignore it. They ignore it because it's not convenient. UN staff, just kill them because it's convenient. UN aid workers, no food coming in, no visas for you. You can't do anything. Goodbye. I mean, look at this double standard. You know, when the UN is convenient to their existence, great. But everything else they ignore. It's cherry picking. It's cherry picking. And I'll tell you another thing. The partition plan, the 1947 partition plan, it doesn't say, Jerusalem illegally occupied and illegally annexed by Israel, and no Palestinian state, and only an Israeli state that controls Palestine. That's not what it says. It says Israel, Palestine, and Jerusalem as a separate entity. So the Israelis, this document that they love to tout and point to as the legal basis for their illegal existence, they never even applied it. They have never even applied it. There is no Palestinian state. They have blocked a Palestinian state to the best of their efforts. With all their time and energy, they have done everything to block a Palestinian state. They have done everything to block Palestinian membership at the UN. Even when the Palestinians agreed and capitulated to their demands. And on top of that, they refused to leave Jerusalem alone, which is supposed to be a corpus separatum, which is a separate entity in Latin. So they violate their own legal basis for a so-called legal basis for the existence of Israel. And then the rest of the time, they just spend murdering UN staff and humiliating and yelling at and bullying UN staff. I mean, these people are scum. They're scumbags, man. You can't deal with it. You can't deal with someone who violates the UN Charter, like he says, and murders the people that work at this institution. How can you say you respect the UN when you literally have murdered more people that work at the UN than anyone in history? When you actively murder them, you assassinate them because they work at the UN. There's something wrong with you. Even if you accept this crappy partition plan, it does not say Jerusalem belongs to Israel, and it doesn't say no Palestinian state. It says there is a Palestinian state, and there is Jerusalem as East Jerusalem as its capital, or it says a separate entity. Why don't the Israelis apply this if they're so fond of the 47 partition plan? Why don't they apply it to the letter as it says? You can't say there is an Israeli state but there's no Palestinian state. Either you have both an Israeli and a Palestinian state, or there's nothing. Do you understand? That's how it works. You can't have everything. You just grab everything you want and then say, oh, well, this thing says that we exist, so we're a UN member now. Either you apply the plan or there's no plan. You understand? And even then, it's a crappy plan. No Palestinians were invited to talk about this, to discuss this, to give input, to participate. It's a colonial plan. It was imposed on Palestinians. How can you take people's land and give most of it to a minority of European Jewish refugees? Again, YouTube demonetized my channel because I'm not allowed to say naughty things about Israel. You know, telling the truth is forbidden. So if you are able to donate a few dollars on PayPal or on a monthly basis on Patreon, please consider doing it because it would really help me continue my journalism and support independent media. So I'd be very grateful. And the links are in the description and also in the chat. Thank you guys very much again for all your donations and all your kind comments. I appreciate it very much.